Good afternoon, I'm Wilma Smith.
And I'm Roy Weisinger. Mr. Reagan spoke to an enthusiastic group this afternoon at Baldwin Wallace College. He called Berea and Cleveland great symbols of what has been accomplished over the past 8 years, and said Mayor Voinovich was, and I quote, a true miracle worker who saved Cleveland. When the president got on the topic of the Democrats, he turned the speech into somewhat of a pep rally.
Do you believe the liberals are on your side? Now, do you believe we're the ones that are on your side? I thought you might say that.
Earlier, the president stopped by the Browns training camp to talk with the team, and he even threw a few passes to some of the players. At the speech, as the crowd chanted 4 more years, Mr. Reagan promised to work to repeal the 22nd Amendment, the one that limits a president to 2 terms.
Well, just how do you roll out the welcome mat for the President of the United States? As the city of Berea found out today, you do it very carefully. As Tony Gaskins tells us, everybody in town wanted to skip work or school to be part of the welcoming committee.
The president's plane landed at Hopkins Airport right on time, and while his entourage prepared to whisk him off to Berea, the city was preparing a once-in-a-lifetime welcome. As you might imagine, security for a presidential visit is airtight. Although the exact route of the motorcade is top secret, 4 streets near Baldwin Wallace had to be closed off. The Berea School District even closed down 3 schools today in the same area, but not at the request of the Secret Service.
No one told us we had to close the schools. They've set us into a situation where we virtually could not get our buses in and out to dismiss students, could not get emergency vehicles in and out if necessary.
So the decision was made to close Berea High School, Rame Middle School, and the educational facility at the Berea Children's Home. In effect, President Reagan gave 2,300 students the day off. But what about the students who had to go to class? Katie Blatnick was so upset about not getting the chance to meet the president, she and her classmates protested by calling a strike.
I was upset at first, but I understand some of the reasons why, but I much rather prefer to see them. Although
they won't say so on camera, many teachers are angry that all schools aren't closed today. They say they, too, should be given the chance to see the president. Fairwood Elementary School principal Maria Ivanovich says it would not have been right to close every school.
It's kind of important that we can be open, and most of the kids couldn't have gotten into the auditorium anyhow because there was a limited number of seats available.
So the civics class many teachers here hope to teach on the spot with a real live president will instead have to be taught in school tomorrow with a tape of the evening news. Tony Gaskins, Eyewitness News.
And the parents of students who did have class were notified by the school that they could escort their youngsters to Baldwin Wallace if they desired.
Well, the Democrats are also throwing their heavy hitters into the battle for Northeast Ohio votes. Michael Dukakis' running mate Lloyd Benson made his first campaign stop in the area today. In a speech at the Akron-Canton Airport, he continued to pound away at the Republicans, blaming them for the federal deficit and losing jobs. Later at the Massillon Steel Plant, Benson, with Governor Celeste and Senator John Glenn at his side, Benson hit a popular chord, promising to export products and to keep jobs at home. Rich White was with Benson today in Summit County. He will have more on the visit as the news continues tonight at 6.
And the presidential candidates themselves were not sitting by idle today. They were out campaigning as well. George Bush told Chicago supporters that he is the man for the presidency. Bush accused Dukakis of being on a media blitz, appearing on every show but Wheel of Fortune, adding that Dukakis would not go on that show because Vanna White might turn over the L word. Michael Dukakis urged supporters to keep pouring on their support, that they were ready for an election day upset. Dukakis also is airing new commercials said to be aimed mostly at voters in California. Now, a pair of new polls are looking rather encouraging for the Bush campaign. He appears to be widening his lead over Michael Dukakis. According to ABC News, 13 points now separate the two, Bush's widest lead so far in the campaign. And for anyone who thinks that that is a fluke, it is further backed up by a CBS News poll that shows a 12-point differential. Now, as you know, Ohio is a pivotal state for both candidates, and tomorrow we will have the results of our latest TV5 opinion poll 88. Now, those results will show how the candidates are faring in the Buckeye State.
In other news tonight, Cleveland police are on the streets of the King Kennedy housing estate this evening. Uniformed officers joined undercover narcotics detectives in their efforts to stop crack and cocaine drug sales. Today marks the third day of the drug crackdown, following a call by politicians to take the streets back from the hoodlums. However, only 2 people were taken into custody today. Police say they're only seizing small quantities from those arrested. However, as we show you tonight on Eyewitness News at 6, the fight to make King Kennedy livable goes beyond just drugs. An 18-year-old man suspected in several rapes and burglaries on the city's west side was charged in a Cleveland court today. Johnny Lee Knight was charged with 2 rapes, burglary, assault, and kidnapping. Police say a grand jury will have to decide if Knight is the so-called West Side rapist. They say they have evidence that could link him with several other crimes over the last 11 months. For now, Knight is being held on $200,000 bond, and he will be back in court November 10th.
After years of lagging behind the rest of the country, 1 year ago today, Cuyahoga County finally established 911 emergency service. Vince Robinson explains how 3 simple numbers have really made responding to emergencies a lot easier and, in the process, saved many lives.
In November of last year, only weeks after the service began, this infant, along with 10 other youngsters, were rescued from a fire after a neighbor dialed 911. Now, no one can say exactly how many lives in all have been saved by 911 over the past year, but these lives alone are certainly enough to tell you how invaluable the service really is. This is part of the nerve center for the most extensive 911 network in the entire nation. The countywide system ties into 47 different answering points, immediately patching callers to the right emergency service for their particular need and their particular area. Before this system began, Cuyahoga County, with some 59 different municipalities, had more than 100 different emergency numbers to choose from. Well, now county residents only have to remember 911. 30,000 people used the service in the first month it was installed. Now the system averages about 60,000 calls a month. And the system automatically displays the caller's address and phone number, a vital feature of the system.
Many times it's very difficult to obtain emergency information from a caller when they are obviously distressed or they are in an emergency situation.
And a surprising number of calls come in from car phones, alerting authorities to auto accidents like this one or other road and highway emergencies. Vince Robinson, Eyewitness News.
And now the price tag for the Cuyahoga County's 911 service was nearly $4 million. In its first year alone, the system logged more than 750,000 calls for help.
Well, I didn't have a calendar today, and I was wondering what month it was. So I looked out the window, and sure enough, it looked like November.
Yes, it did. Are you getting tired of this cool weather?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have some warm weather.
What's the alternative?
Yeah.
Well, that's
cold
good
or
question.
Warmer weather's on the way.
Okay.
So I think we've got some warm weather, though. But, Wilma, I think, however, we're not going to get rid of a lot of the cloudiness, although I think we'll see some sunshine during the day tomorrow through some high-level clouds. I think the balance of the next 5 days look to be rather on the cloudy and kind of wet as well, but I think it will be mild. Thank goodness for that. This is November, and we could get snow. Let's go to the computer right now and show you those clouds over the north-central portions of the country. A lot of low-level clouds over northeastern Ohio, basically the northeastern three-quarters. A little sliver of clearing over the southwestern part of the Buckeye State. Already starting to see some high-level clouds moving into the western part of that Buckeye State as well. Those will be moving across Ohio and northeast Ohio during the day tomorrow. In the meantime, though, the cold northwesterly flow across the warmer waters of Lake Erie and the Great Lakes helping to produce quite a bit of cloudiness across the area, so little change in our weather is foreseen over the next few hours. Temperatures right now, 43 in Cleveland, 46 Willoughby, 41 Akron, Canton, Mansfield, and 42 in Findlay. Detroit also checking in at 42 degrees. Our forecast for this evening, again, look at that sun going down at 20 minutes past 5 o'clock, cloudy and breezy. Low 40s now dropping to the upper 30s. By 11 o'clock, the lake water temperature now down to 51 degrees. And Tom Tasselmeyer will be back to tell you about some snow which fell in the northeast.
He can tell us about it. We just don't particularly want to see it yet.
He'll tell you about it, though.
He will. All right.
Thanks, David. Sure. If you were near Public Square at around noon today, you were treated to a real sight. If you were not there, here's a little of what you missed. Cossack riders from the Moscow Circus, saddled up and performing for the lunchtime crowd. They were here to preview the Moscow Circus, which starts next Tuesday at Public Hall.
Well, the presidential motorcade probably caused some traffic confusion a little bit earlier today. Let's see if things are about back to normal once again with Michael Hart, who's live at Metro Traffic Control. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Wilma. Good afternoon, everyone. Some problems getting through downtown is the biggest thing right now. An earlier disabled car on the Unibelt South right around Ontario had things backed up for a while all the way back to Dead Man's Curve on the Interbelt southbound, and also 77 northbound was backed up all the way to East 55th Street. That is gone now, or at least the disabled car is gone, but the backup remains on the Interbelt South back to Dead Man's Curve. 77 northbound, though, doing a lot better right now. It was back to about 10 to 12 minute delay, but right now only a 5-minute delay getting through downtown. Otherwise, normal delays, 480 eastbound and westbound through the construction, 3 to 5 minute delays. 77 south between downtown and 480, only a 3 or 4 minute delay. And the other slow spots, 77 north into the Interbelt and the Interbelt southbound. Michael Hart, Metro Traffic Control.
All right, Michael, he will continue to keep an eye on the rush hour for you. And the people who just might be headed home to you this evening, he'll return in about a half an hour with a live update for you.
From Michael Hart to Michael Caine, who is the busiest actor I can think of, and he will be seen in 2 new films over the next couple of months. He'll be seen right here when we come back.
And then ahead, World News Tonight anchor Peter Jennings. Now, his newscast originates from Cleveland tonight. We'll talk with him live, still to come, live on 5.
I'd like you to hear a very good essay from somewhat of a new source, Alan Weber. As a teacher, nothing is more fulfilling than to see a student who's been doing average work suddenly burst through with creativity. But Alan doesn't get a chance to shine often enough when classes are this size. I want to know why the people we elect can't do something about classes that are this overcrowded. And so do these kids.
That may never be. That's why I'll always joust at windmills.
Introducing the 1989 Nissan Highway Beautification Program, featuring the brand new 240 SX sports car, the all-new Maxima, the 4-door sports car, and the versatile Pathfinder that's a truck and a car. See all the new 1989 Nissans at your nearest Nissan dealer now. And do your part to keep the roads beautiful.
Judge Villanova. Judge Villanueva.
That's right, Villanueva. They say being elected judge is a name game, but today people want more than names.
We want strong values and real performance. We want judges who care about what we care about. Values and performance. Vote Villanueva.
Today our leader introduces new cable TV. 2,000 channels, $2,000 a month.
With only one cable company, they control your choice and your cost.
24-hour weather and troop movement report. No distracting movie, sports, or news.
A vote for Issue 2 lets 2 cable companies compete fairly for your business.
Now you have choice. Our leader's cable TV or no TV.
Vote for Issue 2. Give Metro 10 and TBA a chance to compete.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
I'm Vince Robinson, reminding you that it's not enough just to be registered. You have to vote to make a difference.
1987 looked like a Michael Caine film festival with 3 feature film releases for the Oscar winner. This year is not looking much different. In just a couple of months, he'll co-star with Steve Martin in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. But David Moss talked with him about his most recent film, Without a Clue.
I guess Basil Rathbone's probably rolling over in his grave over this one.
He is.
This is a different kind of Sherlock Holmes, isn't he?
Very, very different. But the Sherlock Holmes people didn't worry about it because they read the script at the Sherlock Holmes Society, where, you know, whatever it is, it's very serious.
They take it very seriously.
Yes, and they didn't mind it at all because based on the fact that I wasn't playing Sherlock Holmes, I was playing Reginald Kincaid, a bad drunken actor trying to play Sherlock Holmes. So they said, that's fine. And it took me by surprise, I must admit, because the image of Holmes it gets a bit of a blasting at this. I mean, because he was always so pompous, and he was also a misogynist who didn't drink really to great extent. And I played him as a drunken womanizer.
As was his habit, Sherlock Holmes sat in the railway carriage, lost in thought. From these moments of quiet, intense reflection would inevitably spring some new insight.
Stop it, you silly cow!